Everybody here, so gavel banged. Welcome everybody to the City of Ojai Historic Preservation Commission meeting. It is Thursday, April 11th, and it is just a few minutes after 6 o'clock. So we will go forward and begin the meeting. Who is our voice from the sky tonight?
Chair Akins.
Hi, Sherry.
Hi.
Okay.
Chair Akins.
Yes.
Vice Chair McCatton.
Yes.
Commissioner Basasha.
Yes.
Commissioner Walker.
Yes.
Commissioner Sims.
Yes.
Commissioner Fracina.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. At this time, thank you. At this time, we will, whoa, sorry, that's what I get for looking elsewhere. At this point, we will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Please follow me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Sarah, right?
Yes.
One of the Sarahs.
Sarah Camilli.
Sarah Camilli. Sarah,
No, thank you.
I already spilled, so.
You already spilled?
Yeah, I was putting it there and looking over here, so
Do we need paper towels?
please.
I can do that too.
Great, thank you.
Where's this?
Oh, is this an extra one for me?
Sarah, he needs paper towels because he spilled his water.
Yeah, way up there, thank goodness. Okay, so no presentations tonight, so we will go to public communications. Let's see, yep, and then we will do museum report. So public communications. Public communications is a time set aside during the Historic Preservation Commission meeting for members of the public to address the Historic Preservation Commission on items of city business other than scheduled agenda items. Matters raised at this time may be briefly discussed by the commission and will generally be referred to staff and/or placed on a subsequent agenda. Under state law, other than emergency items, no action can be taken at this meeting on the items mentioned by the public comment. So let me see what Mr. Schaefer would like to speak on today. So nothing on general comments? Okay, thank you. There we go, thank you. Can't take him anywhere. There we go. Okay, so we will go to the museum report. So I received that from Wendy Barker, who is the executive director for the Ojai Valley Museum.
Excuse me, Chair, I'm sorry.
Did I miss something?
No, I'm just concerned about the cup at your right elbow.
Oh, this one. Should I drink it really quick?
We're going to move it away from here.
It's just water, folks. Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you, I would have spelled it for sure. Okay, so from Wendy Barker, Executive Director of the Ojai Valley Museum. She asked, does agriculture have a future in the Ojai Valley? That's actually the name of the next exhibit they're putting up. It opens next week during third Friday of the month from 5 to 7 p.m. with a free opening reception. I suggest, based on the last reception on the current exhibit, there were 230 people that showed up, that you get there early. She says, we interviewed a number of farmers and farm workers for this exhibition. The exhibit uses their own words to share insights into land and crops, pest control, water, selling, what they want the public to know, and what they think about the future of ag in our valley. It is a fascinating glimpse into an important local topic from the point of view. The next Saturday, April 20th, the Ojai Film Society will be back with the second of 3 films showing this spring behind the museum. The last film will be on May 4th. So that's again from the Ojai Film Society that have adopted the museum to put out the 3 films that they're viewing. Okay. So we have a consent item coming up, minutes of the March 14th, 2024 meeting. do we have any comments or insights or questions or? Because I do. No? Nope. Okay, so my question is, on the roll call, it says, on a call of the roll, the following Historic Preservation Commissioners were present in person. Chair Akins, Vice Chair McCanton, Commissioners Bisaccia and Sims. Absent was Commissioner Walker. And then later, I introduced our newest commissioner, Sonia Frisina, and I just wondered, shouldn't Sonia's name be on that roll call?
Yes, it should. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. See, I'm looking out for you, Sonia. Okay. And then if we go over to the bottom of the page 2 of 5, down to the paragraph that says, Vice Chair McCatton had a concern that the building at 214 East Matilah Street could partially be historically important. The commission asked the historian to report on this. I just felt like the historian actually needed to be noted, that who the historian was and the firm that they were representing on behalf of the client, rather than just being noted as the historian. Does that make sense,
We'll
Maura?
put that in there, absolutely.
Okay, great, thank you. That was the only thing I had, adjustments I had to the minutes. So any other questions, or do we have a motion to approve with those adjustments?
I'll make a motion to approve with those adjustments.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Sherry, could you call the roll, please?
Akins,
Yes.
McCatton,
Yes.
Frisina,
Yes.
Bisaccia,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes.
Walker.
Abstain.
Okay, so we already did public comments, so now we're going to move to open the public hearing for item number 2, a public hearing item.
I have a question. Where is the part, for some reason I can't find it, what you disclose if you,
Oh, site visits.
where is that?
Where is
parte.
that part?
I don't see it.
It's not there.
It fell out. Yeah.
Oh,
Are you talking about in the minutes and the
Ex parte, no, on the regular agenda, that places that we have visited. I don't see that in the agenda. Looked like it might have gotten deleted by accident.
yeah, I thought about that, didn't see it, forgot about it real quick. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice
That
Chair.
should be in there after either museum representative report or consent items, certainly. So you can just do that right now, and we're going to make sure that that's put in the next agenda. Thank you.
Okay,
And it'll be in the minutes for this meeting tonight.
excellent, great, thank you very much. So I would like to know if anyone visited the property that's specified in public hearing item and item number 2 on our agenda. So if anyone has visited the property, and if in visiting, if they had talked with any of the applicants, if you'd please so declare.
I visited the property, I did a walk-by, but I did not talk to anyone.
Okay,
I visited the property, looked at all of the paint and everything, and didn't talk to anyone.
okay, Craig?
Yes, I walked by the property with Commissioner or Vice Chairman McCatton, and just from the street observed it. And then I had I don't know if I have to disclose this, but I had some ex parte discussions with with Shannon Nelson, who's the daughter of Dr. Nelson, who built 214 West Matilah, and also they owned the building for quite a while during the 50s and 60s. So I got a couple of questions answered through them.
Okay, and 214 West Matilah is the,
Nelson offices that are going to be remodeled.
okay, so it's of the 2 buildings that are there that we discussed at the last meeting, it's the
That's
one on the
right.
west.
That's right.
Okay,
So their previous owners, previous owner to a building that's not on tonight's agenda. However,
But they also, Mary Nelson communicated through her sister, and she ran the Ojai Manor Hotel for a number of years.
right, but they're not currently owners.
Not current owners.
Okay, then I don't think that's
Okay.
that's an issue. Thank you.
but, yeah,
Thank you
thank
for
you for bringing
disclosing
that
that.
up. Okay. Anyone, I did park over there across the street and walk up and down the sidewalk. I ran into a owner that has a business down the street, and he gave me all kinds of information on different things, but not an owner, just a friend. Yes? Okay. Okay. Okay, well, thank you.
Oh, excellent. That's good.
Excellent. Thank you, Vice Chair McCatton. Okay, so now we will then go to item 2, public hearing item, and open that
Thank you.
and have a staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. So this is a request for repainting of the Lavender Inn at 210 East Matilaha. And at the last meeting, the commission reviewed an expansion of the existing inn, which includes detached structures. And with the project, they wish to repaint the Lavender Inn. And that wasn't included in that submittal, and so that's why you're reviewing it tonight. And I've received paint colors from the architect, and as noted in the staff report, the current color is kind of a light or a warm gray, and the proposal is for a cool gray. And the colors, specific names of the colors by Benjamin Moore are in your staff report, and here are actual chips of the colors, and I'll pass that along. And staff is recommending approval. The colors of the Lavender Inn will match the colors of the proposed detached structures that are part of the detached expansion. And we do have the architect here if you have any questions.
We do, Mr. Whitman. Okay, before we open it up to questions, the most often asked question to me is, why do they call it the Lavender Inn? And is that the flower or is that the paint color? I know it was, as Craig said, what the name was before.
I don't know why the name of the inn is the Lavender Inn. I do know, though, that they want to repaint the building to be a cool shade of gray.
A cool shade. There we go. Okay, if I ask my commissioner on the commissioner friend on the left, the history on that, on the lavender, is that again the paint color or the flower or do you know, Craig?
I don't know.
Okay, stump the stars here. Okay.
We have a lavender festival in the city of Ojai.
There is. Yes, it actually outgrew Ojai, and too many buses came downtown, and it moved, I think, elsewhere.
Oh.
From what I remember. Okay, any questions for our staff on the staff report other than that? No?
I just wanted to point out that the reason, or one of the reasons I talked to them was because one of the standards is not to be too much like the new buildings that are built. And so my question just had to do with the colors, because as I understand it, the new color is going to be a match with the color on the new construction. So there is a tie-in there as to whether, under the standard about being different but not being too similar, whether that would tie in with the colors, and I can ask the architect about that.
Right, so according to the standards, well, actually, you just said it, and the change in color from warm gray to cool gray wasn't reviewed in the Historic Resources Report. However, what was that the architecture may be similar, however, not exact. And so, of course, as you know already, it was determined that the architecture was appropriate per the State Secretary of Interior standards. So if the architect has anything else to say when it's time for him, then we'll let him do that.
Okay, so any other questions for staff at this time? No? And you got that standards is the Secretary of the Interior standards, so, which guides so much. Okay, so at this time, We'll ask Mr. Whitman if he can come forward, if he has any information for us. Maybe he can answer the question that was put forth. So
Sure.
welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me here tonight, members of the commission, Chairman Atkins and Maura, the staff. At the last meeting, we talked about the difference in materials. And so we're changing the materials of the new project to like a board and bat siding, and there's some stonework and some other materials that are completely different than the Lavender Inn. The Lavender Inn's a shingle siding, and so we're not going to use that on the remodel, the new part of the project. The color, we thought it'd be best to tie the structures together somehow though too, and having a different color would not we didn't think it would flow really well with the project. The color that's there now is, the clients just didn't, they said it was changed from after the fire. When the fire came through, I guess they had they did a power wash to get rid of the smoke on the building, and it took off the paint that was there. So that what's there now was different than what was there before the fire, and so it's kind of a muddy yellow, kind of color, which they're not. They like the cooler colors, and so it's really their choice that the gray color.
Yeah, I have no problem with the color. I think it looks great. I just had that question about the buildings, maybe someone approaching it and knowing they're staying at the Lavender Inn might wonder if the new buildings were historic as well because they were tied together with the same color. But I understand what you say, that there's going to be other differences that will more than make up for that.
Right.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Sims, did you have any questions?
I wonder why you're using a flat paint.
I don't know. I mean, it just so it's not so shiny, I guess.
Well, but there are many, many different variants, and
Yeah.
a flat paint on a building like this is going to show all the dirt. You cannot power wash it, and it's not going to pop. I mean, even flat paint on the trim and all that out there in front. This is a beautiful lady in the middle of Ojai. She needs to shine. That's my opinion. I don't want her to be like a plastic box.
Right.
But I just think to have a little more shine would be wonderful.
Yeah,
There's a low luster in this gray that is quite lovely, that doesn't have a lot of shine. It's washable, and it's durable. The next would be a soft gloss, which is even a little more, maybe too much. But I would use a little gloss, and then on the trim, I would use a glossier paint to make it all just pop out, because the trim's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then the front door, I would never paint a front door flat paint.
Right.
And again, that would maybe, are you using the same front door?
Yeah.
And I don't know how dinged it is. I know that, that these higher gloss paints show a lot of wear and tear. They're
Right.
hard to hide, any dings and imperfections. But I just think a beautiful front door would be wonderful, and maybe even in a different color. That's just an opinion that I had.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to go with your recommendation to do the luster or different, other than the flat. We're happy
Because
to
the
change it. yeah.
historic districts, some of them in the east, they recognize these buildings should be in some sort of a semi-gloss.
Sure.
So that's just,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful building,
Yeah.
and it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I think we'd be happy to change it to a gloss or semi-gloss.
That's all I have.
Okay.
So
Great, thank you.
when a motion is made, if it's to be something other than what's proposed, then that would be a motion and voted on, seconded and voted on.
If we wanted to make it a motion, we
Yes,
could make
if
it
someone-
just a suggestion.
If a commissioner wanted to make a motion wanted that to be a motion as opposed to a suggestion,
Okay,
then it would be voted on.
okay.
So right now, you're just talking about the project.
I guess I'd like to make a motion.
Well, it's
I
not
don't-
time to make a motion yet. Everyone has,
Okay.
you're discussing right now. And so when it's time to make a motion, then you or any of you can make one, and then it's voted on. And you've
So
got-
my question
and
is, if we make it a motion, then it's kind of a requirement that we put forth. Is that a requirement that they can,
if
is
you-
it still in a suggestion type? Is it something that they can
No,
take
this
as?
is a major work permit. If you make it a motion, then it's.
Then it becomes a
Then it
requirement.
becomes a requirement. If you're in discussions here and your applicant says, absolutely not, that can't happen, then, but if you say, no, we're not, this is our vote and it is the way it is, then that's what they have to do, or they have to appeal your decision.
Okay,
And they
okay.
would appeal it to the planning commission.
I just wanted to clarify that. So,
Okay.
we will see if there are other people that want to discuss, and then you can determine whether it's a suggestion or a motion and move forward on that. So, Rick, Commissioner Bisaccia, do you have questions?
No, I don't have any questions, but I do understand what Commissioner Sims is saying, and I think maybe the applicant should just do a little bit more research on it. I mean, even ask a painter. But when I've worked on historic houses, I've seen that it's typical that the trim is painted in semi-gloss,
Yeah.
and the rest of the building is. I mean, it historically may well have been in flat, but she's right. You could do it like in a satin sheen or something, and the dust and so on doesn't collect on it as easy as it does on the flat that has kind of a tooth on it. And she's really right about the front door, because if it's flat and people are touching it, their hands are gonna
Sure.
make it dirty, and again the glossier finish
Yeah.
doesn't hold the dirt as well, and it's easier to clean. So,
With that glossy finish, I mean, I don't mind doing the semi-gloss, but on that shingle, it just seems like it should stay fairly flat, though.
well, see, the satin
Satin would be
it's
the-
kind of a compromise
Right,
because it looks fairly flat.
Right.
I mean, that's what I used on the outside of my 1920s house.
Right.
And for that reason, because it seems to hold up better.
Sure.
So, I don't know about making the outside semi-gloss, but I just encourage you to
Right.
research it a bit more.
Yeah.
I think she's on to something, though.
Thank you, Commissioner Bisaccia. Commissioner Fracina.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, great, thank you. Yes, and Vice Chair McCatton?
I think that I'm comfortable voting on color and having it be a suggestion. So that's just my personal opinion. Just because I think that it is the decision of the property owner, but I do think that we're coming up with some great points. I just don't think we need to be as heavy-handed as saying you can't do it unless. I think it's just keeping it as a suggestion, using the collective brain trust here of Commissioner Sims' research and your practical experience. I think that counts for something, but I would like to see it more of a suggestion.
Great, thank you. And as for me weighing in, I think I've told people several times that anything that has to do with paint and colors around my house is a single vote with my wife, who does, she does portraits, so has done family portraits, and when she's picking out those roses, let me tell you, those colors better jive, or that rose ain't going to be there any much longer. So I will refrain from being involved in this, but I do appreciate everyone's discussion. So I think we are back to ready to make a motion or make it in the form of a, yes,
I've
Craig.
got another question for him.
Yes,
I
Chair
could.
Walker, or Commissioner Walker.
Yes, when we were looking at the historic report, there was a lot of talk about how certain ones of the standards didn't apply because they didn't have to do with work on the building, and they were only on ancillary buildings and outbuildings, and so, but the historic preservation consultant said, but if in the process any work has to be done on the building itself, on the historic building, then we will follow the standards and the guidelines for that. Well, now we get this proposal to actually do work on the building itself. And the standards do have a lot to say about painting a building. It's mostly relative to the preparation work, making sure that the wood isn't damaged in the process of stripping off the old or sanding it and so forth. And this house is, or this property is a Mills Act property, which the standards are regulatory, as well as getting the exemption from CEQA is based on following the standards. So I'm just wondering if I have pretty good confidence in the Hartleys and yourself that they will follow the standards, but I just wanted to confirm with you that all of the suggestions, there's like 4 pages of guidelines and standards from the Secretary of the Interior standards in the process of painting, and just assurances that those would be followed. For example, when you're stripping off the previous paint, that you don't use a blowtorch or chemicals that could damage the wood, or orbital sanders and so forth. And it's happened to us before that we've gone to visit the work after it's been done, and damage has been done, and the workmanship hasn't been like for like. Or there was one time Brian and I went to a site where the workmen just stripped off huge sections of the exterior and replaced the wood rather than repairing, and that's a big part of the standards. So I would just want to ask you about that in the process of painting the house, there's going to be some repair of the wood, some maybe even you need to replace some of the shingles. Will these standards and guidelines be followed? Are they aware of them, and will they be followed?
Yeah, I'm sure the Harleys have done several historic buildings. I'm sure they're aware of the standards, but I'll make sure they're in the specs
Okay.
when it comes time to write the,
Yeah.
May
and
I suggest that when a motion is made, of course, this is up to the commissioners, but when the motion is made to add into, if you're recommending approval, that is, to add into the conditions that the applicant shall follow the Secretary of the Interior standards related to paint, or whatever it is, the language that you want, and then it's officially in the resolution for tonight's meeting.
That would be great. And then in connection with that, a question for you. I noticed that the archaeological monitor is always put there to monitor the process. So who would, and this is not for the Hartleys necessarily, but for anyone with a project like this, would it be the building inspector or someone from the city who would monitor that to make sure that they're not using blowtorches and orbital sanders and things like that?
That would be, I'm sure that would be, I'm assuming that would be our building inspector. But yeah, it's a building question for sure. And we're not talking about archaeology. We're talking about the Secretary of the Interior standards to make sure that those are met. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but they're met through the guidelines, so.
Right, but you're making sure that those are monitored through the city, is what you're saying?
That's right.
Right, yes.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
They would be monitored through the city.
That would be great, because I noticed when I watched the film from the last meeting, there was talk about how the CEQA exemption was not determined by the commission for the one last month because they were not on the historic building itself. But I do notice that on page 2 of 5 in A, it does say the Historic Preservation Commission finds and determines as follows. So in this case, because it's a major work permit, we are the body that needs to affirm that those standards are being met.
Right, this project stops here, that's correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, thank you. It was, when we were concerned about the theater, it was the building person that was following up and verifying that. Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
No.
Anybody want to make a motion?
Do you want to
And-
open it up for public
Oh, I'm
comment?
sorry. Thank you. I'm looking right at Steve. Thank you, Sherry. So we'll open it up for public comments. I have this whole list in front of me. Mr. Schaefer.
Hello there, Steve Schaefer, San Buenaventura Conservancy for Preservation. I would, this has been a very good discussion, and cautionary tales about paint is these are the kind of things, these are the kind of conversations on your part which go out into the community, and things happen and stories are told that they care so much about paint color they won't let me do anything. And so it's probably worthwhile for the board to maybe take this opportunity in public and on television to say, hey, you know, this is a landmark, to sort of specify why it's in front of you, to let people know that you did not propose the paint colors, and it doesn't look like you're imposing any paint colors. And because I think there's actually a nervousness out in communities, and I know there is in Ventura and there are in other places, that, you know, the HPC is going to deem new properties as historic in one way or another, and then all of a sudden they're going to tell me that I can't paint my house white or I can't paint my house beige and those kinds of things. And I really think that the type of review that you're doing here is the type of review that's like you're saying that the Lavender Inn probably shouldn't be black or purple or neon green, and that's there is no police for the rest of the city. If somebody has a single family home and they want to paint it neon green or black or purple, then that's fine. But in this particular case, you have certain buildings that have been deemed appropriate, that are landmarks, that are going to be structures of merit maybe in the future. And your intent is not to, at least I don't think it is, to make these people jump through hoops and pick the colors that you like at the hardware store, but rather to sort of enforce a ceiling and a floor as to the appropriate colors for the kinds of thing. We don't want to see a purple arcade. So I just thought I'd throw that out there, because this is a really good time for you to sort of make that public comment to people, because it is really going to be out there. Thanks.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much for making that public comment on our behalf there, Mr. Schaefer. So, and that indeed is landmark. We have pointed out that this is a landmark. This is our second hearing on this. This is just a hearing on specific items that are under the purview of the Historic Preservation Commission. And I think the suggestions, the guidance that has been provided to the Hartleys will be very much appreciated and understood too, as being something that we are sharing to work with the owners of the property to make it different ideas that came from the commission to make it the best it is, as I'm sure they are also as their goal, knowing the Hartleys. Great, thank you. Yes,
Just wanted to make sure there weren't any more public comments online. And
let's do that.
And to close the public.
Sherry, do we have any more public comments online?
No.
Thank you. Thank you, Mara. Because sure enough, when we closed it, there'd be someone lurking in the shadows. Okay, so we will close this public hearing and, for comment or public comment. And do we have then a motion?
I have a comment.
Okay.
I'm not trying to stop anything. I think this is a beautiful project. I just want to see it last. I want to see the paint last. And if you can put a paint on there that's going to be able to be washed if we have another disaster or fire, because you said they power washed it and the paint came off. Well, that's what happens to flat paint. You cannot wash it. It doesn't last very long. And it is, you know, you've got to look at the moisture that can get in and out of places. There's a lot to this, and I'm not going to go into it all because I certainly am no expert. I just want to say I think that it is important that people look at the lasting effects of what they do to a property, that they may, I know this paint is more expensive, that I will grant you, it's a lot more expensive, but in the end, it may save in time and effort as paints and prices and everything goes up to keep that place looking spectacular. Because I know you have to keep it up. So that's all, and I won't make a motion to make it mandatory. I just would like to have you ask them to think about it. That's, okay.
Okay, does that work for everybody else? Is there
Works for me.
suggestion okay? Motion's needed? We made the suggestion that would have been part of the motion if there was one, to keep in mind the Secretary of the Interior standards, as Commissioner Walker pointed out in the processes
Yes, under
in
the
the application.
conditions of approval that the Secretary of the Interior standards and guidelines be followed.
Craig, do you want to try to make this into a motion?
Pardon me?
Can you make it into a motion?
Oh, okay. Well, I move that we accept the that we approve the work permit, and that as part of the conditions of approval is listed that the Secretary of the Interior standards and guidelines will be followed and monitored by the building inspector. That's it.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Sherry, roll call, please.
Walker,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes.
Akins.
Yes.
Basasha,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
McCatton.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Mark, and thank you to the Hartleys.
Thank you, yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Okay. We are now on item number 3. Is that correct? Yes. Great, thank you. Okay. Item number 3 is, and continuing, not a discussion item.
No, this is a discussion item.
Oh, this is a discussion
It
item.
already is a discussion item on your,
Okay. What's the one we're talking about? Oh, the
What?
next one.
right,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, so item number 3 is the proposed Ojai Civic Center Historic District Ad Hoc Committee's progress report. So do we have a staff report, Mara?
The staff report includes just a recap of the last meeting, March 14th, 2024, and at that time, Vice Chair McCatton reported that she and Commissioner Walker had walked through the downtown area, and they are thinking of ways in which to move forward, and they did not have a report, or they didn't have anything to report further at the last meeting. And with that, hand it over to the ad hoc committees to give a report if they have one.
You want me to
Okay,
take
so yes, Vice Chair McCatton?
So we welcomed Chair Akins back onto our ad hoc. So the band is back together again. We're happy about that. And so we spent the last ad hoc meeting getting Brian up to date on all of the things that Craig and I have been talking about. Right now there are 3 versions of the same same sort of idea that each one of us has a different, sort of slightly different idea of, and so we're bringing in a couple of experts into our next ad hoc meeting to get their opinion on which way that we should go, and we should hopefully hone it in over the next month or so, and then be able to get ready to present either whatever we do. We know we're coming up to a standstill without a joint council meeting. So we would like to request that again, that we have a joint council, so when we can talk about the what we want to do with the Downtown Historic District with council. Yeah?
So the joint council meeting, along timing, do you think if that meeting were to happen in 2 months, 3 months, would that work for the schedule you see
Yeah,
us having?
I see the time frame of us coming to the best conclusion from all of the ideas that we've put forward recently, and then getting professional advice and from that point on, putting together a presentation that would be in front of a joint council meeting, so they would understand that what we wanted to do and slight deviations of the original ideas, maybe not. There's, like I said, there's 3 versions that we're working on. So I think it'll be helpful to hear from some experts and get some clearer ideas, and then I could put together, I mean, once we have that information, I think a presentation could be done within a week to 2. So whenever, I will rush it if we can get, as soon as we can get the best. I mean, if we got one next month, I would be asking for daily ad hoc meetings to get this done. I mean, whenever we can, we're not going to say no to it. It's like, oh, no, that's too soon. So the soonest that we can get, we'll be happy. We'll be ready.
And just to make sure you know that the community development staff isn't in charge of their calendar.
I know.
However,
I'm just
the message will go forward. Yeah.
putting it out to the ether. Thank you.
Commissioner Walker, did you have anything to add to that?
No.
Oh, okay. I will just say it was enjoyable to get the 3 of us working together. We did it over Zoom just so we could go back to our numerous meetings that took place in, 2019 or 2020, 2021, somewhere there in putting together all of the basis for what was then the Downtown Historic District and now is the proposed Ojai Civic Center Historic District. We worked 2 years, and our work was seconded by our encountering the historic report that was done for the downtown by the folks associated with the state, and that information was in sync with the report that was put out by the state. I will, Commissioner McCatton introduced the topic gently and strategically in saying that there were 3 ideas and there were 3 thoughts, and we pointed out in that discussion that the 3 thoughts actually were inclusive to each other rather than exclusive to each other. So that's very important, because I don't want people to think we're blowing up the downtown historic district and we've each gone to our corners of the valley and, have built our forts. So that's not it at all. So thank you, Vice Chair McCann, for that. Do you have anyone on the commission have any questions for what they've heard so far? Okay. I don't think we have any action items that need to go on that. Do you think?
I do
Vice
have
Chair?
a question. So we have somewhat of our education budget. If we take one of these experts, and we may need a little bit more of their time than, from the goodness of their hearts, they can, if we're using their expertise as our education, can that be massaged into an education use?
Well, it sounds like they are educating you.
Right. So if they are educating us.
Sounds like it's education.
Right. That's what it sounds like to me. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Ryan, I just
Yes,
have
yes,
one
sir.
comment, is that as Gina and I were walking around downtown, one of the things you have to think about when you're trying to define a historic district is the balance between contributing properties and those that are non-contributing. So you want to have a certain level of number of contributing properties to make it a valid historic district and to justify your boundaries. And so it was kind of a surprise to us to find that, unbeknownst to us, there were 3 historic properties that were kind of being assigned different projects, and their historic character was being lessened through various projects, one of which was the project we heard about with the Lavender Inn. Not that any of us are opposed to that, but just that we weren't aware that that property at 214 Matilaha was a historic property, and then we saw that it was, and we looked at it a little further. There was also the property next to it, the 216, that had been granted a permit to remodel in a way that changed its historic look. And then we were fortunate with the property at 510 Ojai Avenue, where the applicant actually voluntarily decided to renovate the historic building. So that was a real plus to see that happen. So I would just hope that we could be in better communication, like when we get our planning updates, if there are properties that are number ones on the historic survey, or if there's any other evidence that the property could be historic, that possibly we be notified so that we can kind of include that in our planning. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, could you remind us what 510 Ojai Avenue is?
That
east?
was the old welding shop,
Oh, okay.
and that was the Burt, oh, what's the last name? Huh? Combs, yes, Burt Combs property, which was a one on the historic survey. And he was quite a historic character in Ojai. That building played a role in the evolution of Ojai's business community during the mid-century time. But fortunately, the Becker Group, who had a project going there, they recognized the historic value of that building, and so they just did a great job following every one of the Secretary of the Interior standards in their project. So they're going to have some mixed market rate, low income, affordable housing project in the back, and then they're going to restore that building, which is a commercial vernacular from the 1940s. So people will still have that familiar building as they drive along, but it was fortunately because he recognized the historic value of it and decided to do that. But he could have just as easily, under Senate Bill 330, have demolished the building and done something different with it. So we're very thankful for that. But anyway, just if the planning department could keep us updated of projects that are coming before it, so we can kind of, especially in the downtown area, so we can look at it in regard to our plans for that area, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Walker, and thank you for monitoring that building. That is the building across the street from Sea Fresh, in case people aren't aware of where we're talking about. Thank you. Okay, we will move on to...
Can I, one more thing. The other thing that I think we, the reason why I said as soon as we can get a joint council meeting, the better. The thing that's in the back of our heads all right now is all the things that are coming down from Sacramento, and how important it is to make sure that we are mindful of that. And we feel like we have enough information now through the different, to tie it up into a nice bow soon, because I think it's important that we keep that in mind, what's going on and coming down the pipeline there.
Okay, thank you. Staff report on item number 3 then? Yeah, you're next. You're after the staff report.
Are we still on, are you still on,
Oh, sorry, I didn't flip the thing. We're on item number 4, correct?
yeah, did you have a comment on number 3?
He did, sorry, I moved right past that. And that's why I sit in the front row to remind me. Like I do at council meetings.
That's my subtle thing.
It's my seat at the council meeting.
Steve Schaefer, San Buenaventura. The Conservancy is very, very supportive of this downtown district. We think it's going to be great and really protect the downtown. And I think there is a general consensus in the city of Ojai that it's valuable and that it's historic and worth preserving. And Brian, that story that you tell of I think it was city lawyer coming up and saying, if you want to protect the things in downtown, or maybe it was Craig, if you want to protect the things in this city that are not listed from the things, from the rules that are coming down from Sacramento, you need to list them. And this is, this and the next item, I can skip my next comment and just say this and the next item are both in that thing. Along with the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of this, I would show that video where the person says, you need to put these things on a register to protect them before they are threatened and before, a developer comes in and says, we're just going to clear this out. With that project on Ojai Avenue, any other developer could have just said, we're going to demo this. And the way I read the staff report, I was reading it this morning on, I think it's 510 or 530 Ojai Avenue. It basically states, there's no historic resource here. So until you get these things online, they're not protected. And I think the city council, from my read of city council meetings, and you guys, obviously, and I think the majority of the population of Ojai really, really, want these things protected. So this is a great district to start out with, and the structures of merit is a second part of that before somebody proposes a 5-story building on something that we really care about.
Great, thank you. Yes, I will point out that the work on the Downtown Historic District, now the Ojai Civic Center Historic District, actually began before all of these changes started coming out of Sacramento. And so we were fortunate to be ahead of the wave beforehand. So those are very important words. Thank you. Okay, so we are on number 4. Structures of merit. Are we ready to go to that?
Yes, and I think you were going to change this to a discussion item from from an informational item to a discussion item. The staff report actually does say discussion item, but your agenda said informational. So.
Oh, okay, this is one. Great,
Okay.
Thank you.
So just as the last staff report, this staff report is really just a recap also of your last meeting. So on March 14th, 2024, Commissioner Basasha reported that he and Commissioner Walker, by the way, sorry, this is regarding structures of merit, and it's the ad hoc committee report. Commissioner Basasha reported that he and Commissioner Walker had walked together, and let's see. And they had put together information that was in the last packet, and Commissioner Basasha wanted to make sure that Commissioner Walker got most of the credit for that information. As an ad hoc committee, they also discussed additional properties to add to the structure of merit list. Those weren't presented. It was just something that they discussed to do in the future. And he also suggested, or let's see, Chair Akins suggested that Commissioner Fresina work with him actually in the future as an ad hoc committee member. And he described the questionnaire that he included in last month's packet for structures of merit also. And then discussion followed without any kind of conclusions or votes or anything, because it's a discussion item. And with that, if there's a report from ad hoc committee regarding structures of merit, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so thank you, Mara. I do have a question. There was an action that you took to clarify an issue that on the structures of merit, and if adopted by the City Council, their availability to access the California Historical Building Code. That was
I confirm.
Is there something that you can share in this meeting to?
This doesn't have anything to do with the council. I thought I shared with the commissioners, with the HPC.
Sorry, legal counsel, not
Okay,
council.
so there have been questions in the past about whether or not structures of merit can utilize the historic building code. And at the last meeting, it was made clear to you, commissioners, that yes, indeed, a structure of merit can utilize the historic building code.
Okay.
As can landmarks, but structures of merit can also, once a structure of merit.
Okay,
Does
yeah,
that-
that was made known to us in an email too.
I think I sent that around as an email because it had been a question to me, staff.
Yeah,
And so, so staff confirmed it with legal, and I passed on the information to you.
exactly. Thank
Yes.
you very much.
Okay.
So could you then tell us, since we're talking about structures of merit, and we've talked about the historic building code for a while, but never really defined it, could you share with us what the benefits are from a council-recognized structure of merit to have access to the California Historic Building Code? What does that mean?
Well, not being in the building department, I can just tell you that it's a different building code. There are different requirements for historic buildings, and that they don't have to follow the current code, whatever the current adopted code is. So there may be, you know what, I really don't want to speak out of turn. I think that would be very dangerous. I don't have the differences in front of me, so.
Can I just, maybe, I can tell you what I know if you're interested in that.
Except, and that's great. However, you know, you didn't ask for me to get the building codes to give you the differences in a meeting, and I don't have that information, and it's from the building department. And so if Commissioner Walker wants to tell them it's of his memory, his opinion, his thoughts, we don't have any documents here tonight, Chair.
Yeah, so I did make that request of someone on the commission and see if we could get that information to you so it could be in the packet, but unfortunately it didn't happen, and so that's why I'm trying to
Okay, so
get some information.
I don't think we can go around it. I don't think we can go around it this way. We don't have the information.
Okay.
So if,
Is it something Commissioner Walker can share, or should we stay away
He can share,
from
but
that?
what he's sharing is what's in his head. We don't have a document.
Okay,
And so
Yeah.
it's not fact that's been vetted by staff or by legal or anything. Okay, and that has to be made clear.
okay. Oh,
I-
yeah, absolutely. I completely
under-
agree with that.
I would like to have rather no information than information that is not vetted. So just be, I don't want anything to go out there as wrong. So maybe we can just wait until next month to talk about the benefits.
Yes, well, yes. The purpose of this is hopefully the people who were sitting in those seats are actually watching, if it's not now, at a later time, and they can see that we are getting answers to questions put together and then getting that information out to them as quickly as possible. But you're right, as we proceed on structures of merit, there is a step that's going to be in getting information out to parcel owners, so we can include
Right.
that in there.
And I think the four of us, we learned a lot about this during the two classes that we took in the last several weeks. And I think it's all fresh in our heads. I think Craig and Steve Schaefer as well could probably talk about the general aspects of it. Just know it's not specific to how it might apply here. We're gonna make sure we get accurate, perfect information before it goes out to parcel owners.
Okay, great.
But-
No, I think the important thing is to recognize that we do have added information that make the structures of merit when they have been officially recognized by the city council and not beforehand, that they would be, have the California Historic Building Code benefits attributable to that, and they can, if they can do what I did once I got that email, was, go online and go to state historic building code people, the ones that put it together, and basically, so there's just a preview of what they may get from
Yeah, I mean,
an ad hoc
it's a
committee
great,
that we're about to shuffle.
it's a really important, great tool to have, and it's a really good benefit, so I'm excited. I think that's why we all pushed, when we were getting pushback, that it wasn't something that we could use. I think that's why we pushed hard, because we all kind of, with our research and education, we were finding out different information. So thank you for, getting to the bottom of that for us.
Yeah, we very much appreciate Mara going to legal counsel and getting added information. And it was everything, sometimes things just work out. It was, as Vice Chair McCatton said, there are 4 of us who are attending seminars independently. I don't know who else in our commission is on there unless they pop up a chat. Only one person has done that so far. So we are getting information coming directly from the
California Preservation Foundation.
California Preservation Foundation, and it is, it ties right in with the information that we got from Mara. So Mara, thank you for getting that information and for getting it out to us so quickly. Appreciate that. Okay, so,
Can I make a suggestion on this, or is not ready yet?
depends on what the suggestion is.
I would
Let's see what
like
you
to
say.
see our 3 ad hocs made into 2 ad hocs. have
Okay,
it be,
so that would be that Post-it
There
there.
you go.
Lots of Post-its in this.
I think it would be, we realized as we're getting to know Commissioner Sims more, her strengths and what she could bring to this.
Okay.
And so I thought that,
Yeah,
go on.
there's a
Do you
path
wanna
here.
do it?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a path here.
Okay.
So, last month in our meeting, we kind of threw together some ad hoc committees. We had I had prepared some information that was put out in benefits, interest, potential interest to the parcel owners, and previously I went through Commissioner Walker and Commissioner Bisaccia. In the back part of their package also was some suggestions. That was in the meeting 2 months ago, I think. Yeah, it would have been 2 months ago. So if somebody wants to go back to our packets that are available online, they can look at that. So, and then again, the ad hocs were thrown together, and so part of it is to, and we have 3 groups. We have our three objectives that I saw. One is to update the structures of merit list, which Commissioner Walker and Commissioner Bisaccia have done a fabulous job on that. I looked through it again today at home, in that other folder that I have. It's not here. And so went through it and and so great information. So the other thing was the other groups that I saw in keeping it at potentially 3 ad hocs was the 3 things that we somewhat had as a target. One was the ad hoc group, Commissioner Walker, Commissioner Bisaccia, who had updated the structures of merit list, and that had been a request and did a fine job at that. The other one was to create information to go out to the owners to do, I think, 2 things. One was to help them realize that by their properties becoming a structure of merit, that the Historic Preservation Commission, they're not being made landmarks, they're just being made structures of merit. And if you go through those documents that I referenced in the past months in the packet, you'll see that the Historic Preservation Commission, when it comes to us, when and if it comes to them, can make suggestions, which we had an excellent example earlier in this meeting on suggestions we were making to a body who was looking to make improvements and perhaps in some way restorations to an existing landmark. And I thought that went really well. I thought that was an excellent example of how the Historic Preservation Commission works with the individual parcel owners in protecting historic relics within the city of Ojai and going forward. So number 2 that I thought, as I had ad hoc and eventually had talked about that in the last couple of months, was getting up-to-date and accurate information to the owners. And part of that, of course, is the new update in having the historic building code available to them. And I know I talked with Mara a couple of months ago when I was writing things up on what that was. We talked about windows. On the meeting that course that we talked about, they talked about examples that went way beyond that. And so, again, very helpful meeting, and I'm grateful to that. But the best thing we can do is to get information out to the owners to clarify people thinking that, this is a takeover by the HPC of their properties, or that going after the structures of merit, we're doing that just because we didn't succeed on the downtown historic district, which is one of those 3 items that we will be working on. And the third ad hoc group, and again, I wanted to talk tonight about those 3 groups, and we'll entertain what Vice Chair McCatton said. The third one was to actually reach out and contact the owners of the property to make sure that they got the information, to make sure and answer any questions that they have, just so we can fill that vacancy that's there. I know this is important because I, as part of the Downtown Historic District, spent 9 months going and reaching out to a multitude of business owners and taking any and all questions that they had, and then getting answers through the Community Development Department or getting answers from the information that we had provided for them. So those were the 3 things that I thought that I felt like we needed to talk about. So I will just tell you what my ideas were on the 3 ad hocs, and then we'll hear other ideas. One is, of course, ad hoc number 1 is Craig and Rick, and they have done a fine job on that. Number 2, which was getting information out to the owners, was to have Gina and Sonia work on that. Gina, because Gina knows it quite well, what we're trying to do, and Sonia.
Me and,
Oh, people are trying to confuse me.
Gina and Lorraine.
Somebody definitely trying to confuse me, because remember I asked about switching it up?
yeah,
And someone told me that I could do that during
this meeting.
this meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
So my,
oh, wait, we're not there yet.
Okay.
So, okay. So the third one, third commission, or third ad hoc group, sorry, Mara's not on her ad hoc group anymore, even in thought. She never could be, was for the contacting individuals in the community, and that I had put down as myself and Loran. Again, Sonia, the reason we'll get to it in just a second. Sonia, the reason I had paired you up, just my thinking behind that, is because Gina's very knowledgeable on all of this, and working with you, she can help you understand why we're doing the different steps. The only other thing that I wanted to see if we can accomplish here is, and I brought this up a couple months ago, is that it is my thought that the best process going forward on doing this was to get this information out to the owners, and then solicit from them what level that they may be interested in supporting their property being a structures of merit. Mara.
Unless you're talking about what you want to change to, I thought you might have switched up a couple of the commissioners, with ad hoc committee number 1 being McHatton and Sims, and ad hoc committee number 3 is Akins and Fresina. And you,
McHatton and Sims was 2,
yes.
because they're number 1. Did I say mistake?
No, what you
Oh.
said just now was that McHatton was actually with Fresina and Akins was with, I don't know. Anyway, you switched some things up, and I just wanted to note that what's in this staff report is the way the ad hocs are now, and then I
Correct.
think you want to talk about changing them, but
Correct.
you had just switched up some names is all. So,
So what I was doing was pointing out what I thought. The reason I thought that was that I know Loren knows many, many people that are in the community. I learned that from talking to her, from interviewing her prior to her being coming on as a commissioner for the Historic Preservation Commission. I have heard that she loves getting out and talking to people. I love people who love getting out and talking to people, especially if I could go with them and not have to do all the talking. And that's why I put Loran down into the third group rather than in the second group. You know, I'm sure there's some of us who would love to be in multiple ad hocs, and we could, because we could have 3, in each ad hoc. But I'm just trying to spread it out so that we're working with lesser involved people, or working with more involved people, more experienced people, and moving forward on that.
Can I give
So
Are you
let me go to Mara, and then I'll come back to you, Vice Chair.
So are you switching people up right now?
I'm going to put a request.
I only made a proposal.
Just now?
Just
Okay,
now,
that's
a
what you're
proposal.
doing as a.
Just
okay.
a proposal.
Thank you.
My thoughts on
Thank you.
changing it up.
Excellent, thanks.
Someone told me I could do that. Someone
So-
from New Jersey.
So my
Okay, so Vice Chair
proposal
McCann.
I would like to see this as 2 ad hocs. I would like to see Craig Walker and Rick and Sonia together. I think having this be her second meeting, throwing you into the deep end, having you go out in public, it's like, I don't know, I think learning from them, learning why there's a structures of merit, what's on it and why, would be really helpful and get your feet wet. And I think that if Commissioner Sims and Chair Akins goes out to the public with information that we decide on, that I am creating a document, then that would be the second ad hoc, the creating of the document, learning what people are expecting of us and what we are expecting of them, and having a clear document. And then you two go out, since you both like to talk to people, and have it be like that. Then it's just 2, it's not 3, and I think that just makes more sense. Maybe when we get a 7th member, it might be different, but right now, the 3 and 3, in my mind, seems to be a good way to do it.
Okay, so of the three items that I talked about, updating the structures of merit list, which was done, getting the information out to, or getting the information that can be taken to the owners, and then contacting the owners. Are you then essentially saying, well, number 1's been done, let's split the 6 up into items 2 and 3?
I think that maybe Craig and Rick are done, but there's always something to be done apart. And plus, just your wisdom, if you were just to bring Sonia up to date on it, I think that would be a really good education. I mean, you're going to these wonderful things that we're doing, but they're more on the state level, to actually talk about the history of Ojai from Rick and Craig, and what the structures of merit is, I think would be really valuable for you. And then me doing a flyer or a one sheet or some sort of pamphlet that's coming up with information that comes from Rick and Craig and Sonia, if we did it that way. And then you two, with that document, go out and share it with the, and get feedback on how the public feels about it.
Okay, so the 2 of us are going, what are
We're
you
3
doing,
and
putting
1. Well,
the-
because if we would be able to communicate outside of waiting once a month to meet. So if, like you said, this doesn't make sense to me, and I'm like, okay, I can change it. Otherwise, if I'm trying to type up a one sheet and you two are in a one together, you won't be able to communicate with me about it until we're at the next HPC meeting. So another month will go by till you're going to look at this and go, I don't like this, I don't like this. I have to send it to Maura. Maura's going to put it in the packet. It's just this way, if it's an ad hoc of the 3 of us, we could hammer out the nuts and bolts of all the information that we've learned about structures of merit, all the information that and how we want to present it to the community in the 3 of us. And then the 3 of them are talking about the actual structures. We're talking about more property owners and the benefits of the structures of merit and how we want to present it. And they're talking about the actual buildings. So 2, 3, and 3.
2, 3, and 3.
2 ad hocs, 3 members, and 3 members.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm just, a little bit concerned, and Steve actually made this question. So we have two people who have been a part of an ad hoc, and now we are adding the two people to another ad hoc that's still on the same item.
That is why you two haven't met and us two haven't met. That was why. We were going to get together at her house, and I was like, you know what? Can we change the ad hoc? And then you asked Maura, and Maura said we had to do it at the meeting, so we canceled our meeting. So we haven't met, and you two haven't met. So there isn't any conflict yet. The only ad hoc that's actually met is Craig and Rick.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about the other four of us. I was worried
I
about
thought you were worried
the-
about it being a Brown Act sort of thing.
I was only worried about the two that are in ad hoc number one, now folding into another ad hoc.
But just adding a member. Just adding a member,
Adding me to number 1 and number 2 and 3 combined.
right. Does that make sense to you, Lorraine?
Absolutely. I think it's a great way to go, because then we can communicate. If we have questions, you can get the answers, you write it up, and then we can go out and talk to people.
Well, we can't, so the ad hocs cannot exchange information during the month.
Right. Right.
So-
The other ad hocs. If there's 3, there's 2 people talking, there's 2 people talking, there's 2 people talking, then we come back to this body and talk.
Right.
It's too many ad hocs because we don't have that much information. This is really kind of a simple thing. You know, they did the groundwork of the actual structures, and then we need to do the outreach. It just makes sense to have it just be,
The three of us talk.
Right.
Right.
right,
And we don't talk to anybody else. We just talk, the three of us talk.
yeah.
Again, so that, the information between, so if we went with the 2, and then when we went with the 3 and the 3, you were worried about the fact if we had 3 2s, that we would only be able to bring information back to each other on a monthly basis, and that would slow us down.
Right.
However, you're saying if we have 3 and 3, you can still only bring it back to each other on a monthly
But
basis.
like we said, they pretty much have, their job now is, they did their work, and now they should share it with Sonia, so she has an understanding of what the structures of merit is, and get her up to speed on what it is and what the buildings are and why they are included. So their job now is educating our new commissioner, because they already did their work on figuring out what should be in the structures of merit list, structures. Ours is working on, we don't need to talk to them, and we need to talk to each other now, is getting it done. They brought our information to our last meeting, so it became public. The information was given to the full commission in a part of our packet, so we don't need to talk to them. Now we just need to work between the 3 of us.
Mark, did you have a thought? You were leaning forward.
I'm just going to excuse myself for like 30 seconds.
Okay. Click. Okay. So, Vice Chairman Canton, what you're saying is, if we did ad hoc 1 and add Sonia to Craig and Rick, who have already basically done item number 1.
And brought it to the commission already.
And brought it to the structures, to the commission.
What would our duties be?
That's what I'm trying to get.
At this point, you've done your ad hoc work. Your next thing would be educating our newest commissioner on what you've done. So
Oh.
she has a,
Okay.
this is only her second meeting. I mean,
Okay.
I think it's a
There's
really
just
good idea to,
some, after watching the meeting from last week, there's some, it seems like deeply critical issues that we need to decide before we move forward talking to the property owners, because I could see a division. I watched it on TV, and I could see this division, and I have some very strong feelings about it too. So I would want to make sure before we, as we proceed, we do it in a way, and we may even have to go back to the council and say to them, you know, do you want these to be optional, or do you want them to be required, you know, and those kind of central questions.
Yeah, so we're going to get to those, Craig. But right now, I want to get to the ad hocs first, because, yeah, I have a key question that I want answered, one way or the other. I've already stated what my position is. So you guys have done your job. Now you're going to, you can go out, you can go on a tour, but get the information that you've done already on the ad hocs and include Sonia in that. Okay? So,
And then do we provide, you were saying we provide something to the second ad hoc, or?
well, that was, so again, mine was, the three things were update the structures of merit, come up with the information that's going to go out to the owners, and 3 was to contact the owners, reach out to the owners. Okay, those are the 3 things. Okay. Gina is proposing that ad hoc number 1 has done what they need to do on our initial assignment, and now to include Sonia into just, meeting with her and talking about what the properties are that were listed in the update that you gave us 2 months ago. Okay. And then items info to owners and contact with owners would be done in a new this is what Gina said, new ad hoc 2, in doing each of those. And the benefit, she notes, is the fact that we're coming up with the information together and then contacting the owners together of the 3 of us. I'm going back to what we did for the Downtown Historic District. And the Downtown Historic District is that we had an ad hoc that was put together that provided all of the information that was going to go out to the parcel owners. That was the FAQs that were put together, as well as the one sheets that were done on that. That was done by an ad hoc. Gina and Jenny, I think, were the 2 assigned to that. And then I was going out and contacting people. Again, we only had 5 people at that time, so we had to be really careful in walking the line.
So I'm going to leave, if it's okay. I just wanted to get done with this topic. Hazel was part of an art exhibit, first time ever presenting something in a gallery at Ventura College, and they won first place in Best in Show, and my whole family is celebrating, and I really
I'm sorry, I didn't even know. Yeah, so.
I just really want to
Yeah.
wrap this up, and I just kind of want to, before we, if you don't mind, if we're done with all of our items, I'd like to go and celebrate, because I'm really surprised and happy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm all about family, so yeah. Next time, just let me know, and we could even rearrange things in the schedule to get you out of here early.
Yeah, I just want to.
I think she just found out, actually.
I just found, it just
So
got a
it's a
text. They just won
surprise.
first place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there ain't no one family's more important to.
So, do you think you can finish this conversation without me? Is that okay? I mean, I could stay for a few more minutes and wrap this up. I'd like to
Go.
get done with this item. Yeah.
Yeah, the only other thing that I wanted to make sure and cover tonight, and Craig alluded to some of it, is that, and I mentioned this 2 months ago, that it is my thought, and again, this goes back to the Downtown Historic District, where the people involved in the Downtown Historic District could say a yay or a nay. And they had a whole lot more benefits that were coming to them as members of the Downtown Historic District, rather than, say, structures of merit. And so they got a say into whether they were going to be a part of this. So my question, again, I brought it up 2 months ago, is that it is my feeling that we go to the parcel owners and we get this information out to them, and I put it in the information that I submitted before, was a kind of a census on do you want your property to be a structure of merit? Do you not want your property to be a structure of merit? Do you have more questions about structures of merit, of what they need? Or are you just not ready to make that decision right now? So my other goal for this meeting was to put that to a vote, was that we submit to a nomination to the council members, those people that have said yes on wanting their property to be a structure of merit. As I pointed out to every meeting we've talked about structures of merit in this meeting, is that everything that has been presented by ad hoc committee number 1, all of those properties will go to the city council. We would only make a nomination of those to the city council in my path of the people who said yes. The city council could then review those items and say, we think this one needs to be a structure of merit. It's important enough. What can we do to talk to the owners, or the city council can by themselves decide to make something a structure of merit. We only make a nomination. They're the ones that actually make the.
Can we decide on the 2 and 3 as far as before I go?
Well, here's what we can do. We can do the 3 and 3, and we can make that motion now, and we can work forward with that. And I'm thinking that if we need to make changes in the future, that we can make that at the next council meeting.
Yeah, I would like to make
Is that correct? Okay,
suggestion
then
that we
let's
do
make a
that.
motion so you can get out of here.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to change the ad hocs to 3 members, one being Craig, Rick, and Sonia, and the other one being Brian and Lauren and myself. And the one would be more historical in structure and about the area and whys that these buildings are chosen and their why they contribute to the structures of merit. And then the other ad hoc would be taking that information, learning as much as we can from other sister cities, other places in California of similar size, how they do their structures of merit, putting together some information, turning it into some sort of pamphlet, and having it go to out to the public, which you two would be doing. So
Pamphlet's a good idea. Okay, so that's your motion?
my motion is to change it from 2 to 3, and those are the 3. And I just, not that whole long thing. but I
Yeah,
just
from
wanted-
3 ad hocs to 3
Yeah, from
commissions.
3 to 2.
And at what point are we going to take another motion as to whether we follow what you said to only send to the council ones where the people have agreed to be on a structure of merit? Because I'm very much opposed to that. I have a lot of reasons, and I would really like a chance for us to discuss that in depth, because I think it would be a major mistake
Craig?
to do
Yeah.
that.
So
Okay. Thank you.
Craig, that is why we did not talk about it last month when you weren't here.
Well, I heard a lot on it.
There
when I
was a
watched
lot
it.
of discussion, but no motion was made
Okay.
because of that, because
So
you
we
weren't here.
will discuss
Okay,
that
so-
before we
so-
go
so-
forward
So
with
I'm
that.
not going to make that motion. I think with the way we've scheduled things, that's a motion that we could make in the meeting next month, although we're going to miss Lorraine in that meeting.
But can we, does anybody want to second my motion?
I'll second it.
Mara?
I was just going to say that switching it up from 2 people ad hocs to 3 people ad hocs doesn't have anything to do with the other subject. So you could finish this one.
Yes, you're absolutely correct.
Right.
Absolutely. So the other one,
Finish this one and
I
then.
am tabling because we're not going to have a member there.
Right, so there was a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
There was, yes. So Sherry, could you, do we need any more discussion? Are you okay in moving forward on the vote on that motion?
Yeah.
Okay. Sherry, could you call the roll, please?
Gina,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Basasha,
Yes.
Akins.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Okay, enjoy your daughter.
Thank you.
Go.
So the next, you're going to be discussing the structures of merit and what Craig wants to say, and I'll watch it and.
We're going to, if it's something that he believes that all of us should be involved in, then I would ask him to postpone it till next week, but that's up to
Next month.
Craig. Next month,
Yeah,
yeah.
but then we lose Lurann, so I'm fine with you making decisions tonight because it's 1 month without, I'm leaving now and then Lorann's gone next month, so whatever you need to do, just please don't stop for me. And
Is it possible for us to have a special meeting to discuss that where we can all be here? Because I think that's such a critical piece of it. I think we should all be involved because we're all on these ad hocs that are dealing with it, but if we don't have those central,
Right, I mean, we can't put together a pamphlet that goes out until we explain the perimeters to the property owners of what we found out. Maybe we need more education. Like I said, we need to find out what other communities are doing. I think that's when we can ask our experts too, that we can reach out to.
well, yes, if we go to the, that workshop or that conference, then we would have some opportunities maybe to talk.
Right,
to
and
people
also,
about
we were talking with the people who did the survey, and we're talking to Steve Schaefer, who are experts too, and understand what we need to do and what would be important to make it strong, but not so strong that it would not be palatable for homeowners. So we have to find that balance in there. So I would love to have a special meeting about it, because I feel like we're kind of stuck until we come up with that. And just another month goes by until we can talk about it again, where we won't be able to make any information to go out until that decision is made. So whether it happens tonight, I'm fine. But if it doesn't happen tonight, a special meeting sounds fine. Before you leave, I think Rick is leaving as well at some point, so we have to look at everyone's schedule. But whatever you need to do.
That's how things happen. Okay, thank you, Gina. Okay, so Mara, they just said Loren has some strong thoughts on the structures of merit, but she's going to be gone. She's already alerted us to that next month. And I know she can't vote in abstention. Is that how it's said?
I think that if there's an emergency situation that one can, I don't know that.
What do you think about Zooming?
I don't know if somebody's on vacation, if that's a reason to allow that. I'd have to check into it.
Okay.
I could try to do Zoom. I mean, I'm going up to a landmarked, wonderful place.
I'll find out if it's appropriate.
But I
If-
think
if
she
it's-
should be part of the discussion too, not
Well,
That's
just.
true.
well,
I do,
yeah.
I want to be.
We're trying to with seeing if we can meet in a month rather than postponing it for 2 months. So that's what I'm trying to do, Craig, is find out a way that we can.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
special
include-
meeting would be
I'll be
good.
gone from the
Well,
3rd to the 13th.
Have you ever tried to get a special meeting? It's like next to impossible. I have firsthand experience.
City council does it all the time, huh?
Yeah, we're not the city council. Okay, so yes, if you could, I would like to postpone this until I'd like to have Gina here. She's been very involved in it. I'd like to have Loren be involved, Commissioner Sims be involved. So if we could, because of the notice, we have set up a special meeting or to where she could call in while on vacation.
Like I said, I'm going to have to look in to see if that can be done. I think when somebody is attending from afar, it has to be noticed to their location and it has to be open to the public. I'm going to look into it and get back to you, and I can't make any promises.
Chair Akins, she could,
I can come anytime. I mean,
You can come anytime,
I-
what?
I'm available to be here for a special meeting. I'm not busy.
Yeah, you're still.
Except when I'm gone.
You're still talking about special meetings. And I'm saying that I have tried to, my personal experience is in trying to get a special meeting has been, yeah, that's not going to happen
Why?
for a multitude of reasons. I really don't want to
Okay.
go out over the air.
well, then let's just postpone until we have a meeting where we're all there. Because I really think.
Okay, so, and Rick was going to be gone when?
I will be gone for the June meeting.
Okay, so Rick's gone the June meeting.
Huh?
Rick's gone the June meeting.
I would be in favor of trying for a special meeting if we can.
Mara? I'll turn to you since it's not us that can call a special meeting. It has to be facilitated by,
So I'll have to look at the
Lucas.
calendar and staff's availability and noticing.
okay.
So
So if you can look and see if a special meeting is available to us, I'd be thrilled.
Okay.
I'm just telling
And
you
maybe
what
give
I-
us like 2 or 3 dates that we could pick
Yes.
from.
Yeah, so Mara will look for us
Okay.
on that. So again, I think I would love to have everybody here, and I do appreciate that we all have responsibilities elsewhere. You know, if my grandson makes state up in Clovis, I'm not going to be here. Okay, so where are we on the things that, Craig, are you willing to wait on the important things that you mentioned that we should discuss until we have everyone here?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Everybody else okay with that? Okay, fine with that, me. I mean, the structures of merit so far haven't fallen down. Okay, we okay with that, Mara? And then you'll look and see if we can get a special meeting. I think that would be fabulous. Thank you, everyone. Okay.
I'm going to be looking into a special meeting, and I'm also going to be looking into a commissioner being on vacation and zooming into a meeting.
Yes. That
I would
be-
really prefer not to have the whole community know where I am. So if that has to be done, then I can't do that. We're too public of a couple.
I won't be setting anything up. I'm just going to get information.
Yeah. Gosh, are you kidding? Because we did have someone that zoomed in for a special meeting like that, all the way from the Ojai Valley Museum. And outside the Ojai Valley Museum was a 4-page document that said that you could come and attend too. That's the only time we've done that. Okay, so let's then move to, are you hanging on to all this, Sonia? Okay. You look like you're enjoying the ride. We're happy to have you here. Okay. So the next thing we have is future agenda items. Mara, is that correct?
We have future agenda items, and on May 9th, yes, we're still in April. May 9th, there'll be a selection of a new chair, or not, a selection of chair and vice chair. Can't believe we're there already. And then that's the only new thing that will be on the agenda.
Okay. I can't believe we're at awards almost. Getting close.
Sorry?
I said I can't believe we're at awards already. So, woo-hoo.
Yes, well, actually, if you want to look further onto your future agenda items, might be good to look at the June 19th, when you're going to be discussing potential recipients of annual awards.
June 13th there?
So if you
Yes.
want to think ahead.
What date was that?
In your packet, you'll see on future agenda items, on June 13th,
this, Craig.
the HPC is going to be discussing potential recipients of Annual Historic Preservation Award, and also the, I guess there are two. One of them is
There is the lifetime.
Lifetime Award. So on June 13th, you'll be discussing those here at the meeting.
Looking forward to it. Okay. So on that item, let me just, I was going to bring it up in commissioner comments. But I think I can jump into it right now. So next month, we have 3 commissioners whose terms are up. That is Loran, because Loran, she's like, what? I just got here. Loran was filling a term, and then Rick and myself. So each of the 3 of us, their term will be up in May. Okay? So you can go on and see where it is. It's in a report that looks, it's online, so it shows the different people. The dates are later in May, so everybody will still be a full-fledged commissioner. And we don't know how long your term is, Sonia, because you haven't shown up on the list yet, but we'll find out. At our meeting, we will all be full-fledged commissioners. We continue, but I talked with Will. You want to say his last name for me, Mara? He's stepping in for Weston.
I can't tell you his last name.
Okay. Anyway, I happened to show up at a council meeting to get a good seat at 5 o'clock, and no one was there till 6 o'clock, so I got to know Will real well. Will is, he's a management guy for the city, is why he came down. But when Weston's wife, I guess, or someone called and said, I'm having a baby, come home now.
That would be his wife, yes.
Yeah, that was the same night, and so he has stepped in for Weston, and so I talked to him today. So there are the 3 commissioners whose terms will end. I asked Will what the process was because this came up in the Tuesday night council meeting, which I watched the next morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. Woke me up. And so I asked, so what will happen is these positions, as well as positions for the Planning Commission, for the Parks and Rec, and for the Art Commission that terminated in May, they will come open. They will be noted that they are now open to all applicants. We will be made, the 3 of us will be made aware of that. And at that time, we will have the opportunity to tell them on whether we wish to be renominated to the position. Okay? So then they will, the other thing they're figuring out is who in the council will rotate to us. Gina's missing this key thing. She can, is, so the way so what they do when there's a commission opening is they do an interview, and that interview is the chair of the commission, a council member, and a rotating council member, and the mayor, okay? Whether they meet independently or whether they meet together is to be determined. I asked, well, what happens when the mayor, or what happens when the chair is being interviewed? And he said, well, then the vice chair steps in for the chair. And to which I said, well, I'll slip a 20 to Gina under the table tonight. Thank you, Laura, for being here and for all your posting. So that will happen. So we basically, so the 3 of us, hopefully the 3 of us, want to come back, and we will say to them, we would like to be reappointed for the next term, okay? And then they will let us up, they'll line up an interview with whoever we're going to interview with, and we can, stay there and be an applicant. Craig's been around almost as long and as much as I am. I've been through, I gotta tell you, it feels kind of interesting when you've been on the, and I said this to Will, on the commission for 10 years and chair for 6 years, that you're jumping in with all the rest of the applicants for, being on the Historic Preservation Commission. But that's how life goes. So anyway, so that's what's happening. I just tell you that, just so you know that there's that quirk that's in on, not if the nomination for the commission had to been after your time terminated, you would still be you're a commissioner until you're replaced, or till you leave, that kind of thing, okay? However, you cannot vote for a chair or vice chair unless you're a full-fledged commissioner. I know that because we went for like 6 months without being full-fledged commissioners, but still meeting, okay? So I'm just telling you the little quirks and ins and outs that go with that nomination.
Do I have to apply again?
I know. If we drank, we could go get a drink together. Okay, so other commissioner comments. Another discussion item that came up, and Commissioner McCatton was going to talk about it, is the budget for education. And Craig, do you have any insight into, and then Craig also had mentioned putting some amount together in the budget for outside assistance for the Downtown Historic District. And Gina was going to get more information on that, but of course she's not here. If we have added suggestions for the budget, is it too late, or can we get those to you, or can we bring them up here under commissioner comments?
You can definitely bring them up here under commissioner comments. I'm not sure what the status of the budget is and the meetings with the council.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything yet. I would have been there, or the budget committee. Craig, did you want to mention anything?
Well, yeah, I just thought we could ask anyway. And I think that as we talk through and come to a conclusion on the work we can do on the downtown historic district, there's a lot of just technical knowledge and so forth to put together a legally sound historic district. And so it was my feeling that if we could get a budget to do that, then we could, as we get to the end point and we wrap together the actual nomination, we'll have everything that we need to have. So it isn't, we write up what we think we need, and then we're told we need to have these other things in it, and it just goes on and on. We have someone familiar with the process who can help guide it for us.
Okay. Was there an amount, or I think Gina was going to try to ask
She was
around.
going to ask a couple of people. My guess would be 15 to 25,000, but I'm not positive, and maybe it could be done for a lot less.
Okay. So that was an item that was discussed in our ad hoc committee meeting for the Ojai Civic Center. So we're meeting next Thursday in that meeting, and we'll be with Gina, so we'll be able to get the information that she has gotten outside, and then we will come up with something and then send an email to you. Does that work, Craig?
Yeah.
Does that sound good? Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
What about trying to qualify for state CLG grants, as they discussed in those conferences we watched?
You know what a CLG is?
No.
Okay, it's certified something
Certified local district?
like
Yes,
that. So
yes, and you can get all sorts of money.
So the city basically does the work and takes on this entity. And part of it is that this is coming from the fabulous classes that we've been attending. Part of it is that the commissions need to have a certain representation too. So we're thinking about that with number 7. But as Loren said, it is a certification that says you're a legit historic city. You know, pursuing it, you have a historic preservation commission like we do. You have policies in place. You have researched the properties that are historic, different steps that you have to go. Have you heard of a CLG before, Craig?
Yeah, certified local government.
Oh, there we go.
And it is a set of qualifications that I think enables you to get a lot of grants. So if you can show that you have that, some of the things we already have, like you have to have a historic preservation commission, which we have, and you have to, like you say, do a survey or some other kind of effort to identify the historic buildings in your community. So there's a number of things like that you have to do, and then you get it. And then you become eligible for all these grants and other things.
There are design grants and feasibility studies and tourism money and architectural surveys, and I mean, it just goes on. And I was really impressed with the fact that cities are getting this. And I think that I mean, you're one of the people that qualify us
Yep.
with your vast knowledge in writing and education.
Great.
So we'll learn some more about it. Again, Sonia and Loren, I think the courses that we've been taking online have been fabulous. The last one was on enforcement, and I went and got a drink. It was a little bit.
Right, I think Steve could say more about it, but I think, I think you do need to show that you have members of your commission that have certain background.
Uh-huh.
Is that right, Steve?
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Hey, Steve, could you come up to the front, please? We'll get you on tape. I love when they say on tape when there's no tape around.
Just get the pencil in there and turn it. Yeah, it wouldn't preclude any of you from being on. Basically, it would just look forward and look for certain either knowledge of historic preservation, writing about historic preservation, architecture background, historic background, just history, teachers, things like that. So it's not super technical, and the idea isn't, oh, well, we're now a CLG, everybody's off because they don't quite fit the mark. The basic idea is that over time, new members would be, asked to be as qualified as possible. So instead of, picking somebody who everybody likes, it's like, well, we could use an architect on this group because we're answering architectural questions. And Ventura's gotten grants and the county's gotten grants for surveys and things, just like you've said. And then there's an annual report done every year that's sent to the state, and that annual report basically, it's a form letter where the staff would fill in all the things that happened over this year. They would put all the minutes of all the meetings in the back of it, and then they would send it up to the state office. It would show these are the landmarks that we have listed over the years, this year. These are the surveys that we've done this year. These are the awards that we gave out. This is how many meetings we had. And to Craig's point, the actual qualifications are you have a historic preservation commission or a committee that serves as that. You have an ordinance, which you already have. You have regular meetings, and you try to do these things that actually pursue preservation. And then you apply for grants if you have a certain thing. So if you had an area of Ojai that you wanted to take a look at and you wanted to have surveyed, you get the grant and work with the state, and then get the historic preservation professionals to come out and do the survey and then give it to you, and then you bring it to city council to approve.
And do they actually look at your historic ordinance and make sure that you've kind of covered your bases with different sections of the?
They would give you recommendations in how to update it, and it's like your historic preservation ordinance is pretty good compared to some, so I don't think there's any problem there. But yeah, there would probably be a discussion of, it's like, all right, at some point in the future, these are areas where you could update your ordinance, and these are areas where you can improve your landmark, categories and things like that. There are some cities that have some very loose categories, like aesthetically pleasing buildings can be landmarks, and it's like, well, if you're going to get money from the federal government for historic preservation, then they'd like it to be, a little bit more objective and a little less subjective. So, moving in those directions, but it's not a wholesale. You need to start over. It's definitely, we're going to take your group and try to improve it going forward and make it something that when there's a National Register nomination in the area, your board would be asked to basically make a comment on that, and your comment would be forwarded directly to the national or the State Historic Resources Commission that's deciding on that. So it's really nice because if somebody were to nominate something and it went to that commission and there's no CLG in town, it might come to the planning director just as a courtesy that there's this nomination happening. But there is not necessarily a threshold and a trigger to bring it to the HPC unless you're a CLG. And then they would actually formally ask you to comment on it. And that's where you could say, well, that's not really an old building. That's something somebody rebuilt, right? That might not be appropriate. And it brings local content into something that is actually a state or federal process. So it's a good thing to be. The county is which means because the city of Oxnard contracts with the county, the city of Simi Valley contracts with the county, the city of Fillmore contracts, and the city of Thousand Oaks. Technically, they are all CLGs by default. The city of Ventura is a CLG. The city of Santa Monica is a CLG. I mean, it's pretty common. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Steve. Okay, any other questions? Sonia? No? Nice having you here with us. Okay. Rick?
I have no questions.
Who you been poking? Okay, thank you. Loran?
No questions.
Craig? Okay, Mara? We're done. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for being here.